This week we learnt why an AI for an AI could make the whole world blind.
Agent 3 reaches Artificial General Intelligence, the AGI landmark. This means the AI can carry out all intellectual tasks as well or better than humans. But in the scenario, OpenBrain's safety team is unsure if the AI is aligned to the company's ethics and goals. An uncomfortable gap is developing in understanding. The public are increasingly using AI for everything, but are blissfully unaware an AI now exists that's as smart as humans.
Is this how AI might destroy humanity? A cheery video from the BBC World Service on Saturday. Jamie, what's the story this week?
So this week, Google set out through its DeepMind AI division the next steps in developing artificial intelligence, which, as far as I can understand, this is layman stuff. Someone who is far more intelligent than me will be able to understand it. But they are basically creating a new kind of world model, and it's called Genie 3, and it's a simulated environment that you can train AI agents, like robots, with realistic replicas of situations and environments. It's able to generate multiple minutes of interactive 3D environments, basically just from prompts. So we've all kind of seen what ChatGPT can do, I guess is a good example, but you can say, I want to see, Terry Wogan back from the dead presenting, Saturday Night Live or something, and it will be able to produce that for you immediately and then change who was the guest or whatever. The kind of concept that makes it, or they say that makes it so interesting, is the memory that it has developed. So within the world, the AI will be able to tell if something is going to happen based on what it's created previously. The example that it gives is a human obviously knows if a glass of water is about to teeter over an edge, even though we haven't seen it happen. We know in our mind that that could happen because of gravity. They say that this is kind of how AI would learn that that might happen without it actually having to happen. What they say that the whole purpose of Genie 3 is to create, is that they will work towards artificial general intelligence, which is different to artificial superintelligence. We may get onto that in a second. Artificial general intelligence is basically a theoretical level of AI that means that AI can carry out tasks autonomously. It's kind of what's seen to be the way in which AI will steal your job, Arion.
Right. Okay, so maybe we'll park artificial general intelligence for just a moment. We'll come back to that. But Felicity, the idea of creating world models, one of the examples that I read was of creating a factory setting. As I understand it, what they're trying to do is allow AI to start operating in the real world. Is that what's going on here? So we'll have no longer will it be just a thing that we interact with on screen, but now suddenly AI will be able to operate in call centers or in factories or in places where work happens. Is that what the big breakthrough is all about?
I think so. I mean, as far as my understanding allows it, it's certainly this is being hailed as a next step in that direction. So this is a real breakthrough and a real advancement in terms of what AI would be able to do in the real world, hopefully for us. I still see it in terms of it still looks like a game to me. So I don't think my brain has quite wrapped itself around what's going on here, because it looks to me just like playing a video game or something. But it's incredible because when you look at the promos that they've put out, you're walking in these worlds, or you're in these worlds that keep on sort of making themselves up as you go along, and you can put in real-time prompts. Like in one, you're sort of walking down a canal, and then you could type in that a man in a chicken suit runs past you, and a man in a chicken suit starts running past you, and then like a dragon lands on the water and all this kind of thing. But people are talking about it in terms of how it could be applied to school settings, and also how it could be used to imagine war zones. So there's also kind of quite a lot of useful ways that this could be employed to help us, learn about the world. And it's pretty mind-boggling stuff.
And it's a step, as Jamie was saying, Harriet, towards artificial general intelligence. Do you want to dig into that connection a bit more deeply?
Yeah, so basically what we've got at the moment that underpin bots like ChatGPT, for example, are large language models, and they're trained on massive amounts of data. So they're really good for stuff like planning. Like you put in prompts and it gives you answers, but they can't really take action on a human's behalf in the physical world because they don't know how the physical world works, because you can't train something on data, because that's something that's, I mean, just in layman's terms, that's stuff that's already happened or facts that already exists. Whereas in these world models, if you get like robots or autonomous vehicles and you're training them in what are effectively these simulated environments, the idea is that down the line, a robot could actually work in a warehouse because it has learned to take action in a physical world. So that's kind of the difference. So you see why Google is saying that world models are a vital step on the way to achieving artificial general intelligence.
And meanwhile, actually, Google is being quite cautious, aren't they, Jamie, about saying what Genie 3 can and can't do? I mean, how far off is this tech from becoming reality?
Yeah, I mean, that's the $1 million question. I remember reading 10 years ago now a blog called Wait But Why by a guy called Tim Urban, who kind of set out the whole concept of artificial general intelligence and then super intelligence, and how robots or AI could come to, as the BBC World Service didn't try and scare us with but how it could come to attack humanity. And this was 2015, and he was saying that some futurists and scientists at that point thought it could happen by 2020, in the next 5 years, almost kind of more than probable in the next 10 years. And we've got 10 years down the line, and it's not here yet. But a lot of the people, the experts, scientists, etc., do seem to think that it is coming, and kind of sooner than we might like. Mark Zuckerberg last week talked about something called personal superintelligence, where he was describing like having an AI glasses that would be kind of personalized companions that would, his quotes, create what you want to see in the world, experience any adventure, be a better friend to those you care about, and grow to become the person you aspire to be. Which is big words for Mark Zuckerberg, obviously. I wonder what kind of person he'd aspire to be. But I was very scared in 2015 when I read that. And it's not come through. But we have seen massive developments. And I think the way in which ChatGPT has infiltrated all of our lives across the board in quite a short space of time does suggest that, I mean, this stuff is kind of exponential. You know, it's not a gradual increase. At some point, AI will develop quicker and quicker and quicker. So it will have repercussions for all our lives.
And when we talk about ChatGPT, like ChatGPT, when it was launched, there's a benchmark that somebody has designed that to compare human and machine intelligence. ChatGPT scored 5%, and OpenAI's O3 chatbot, which launched in April, which thinks before it generates answers. So it produces these long, like, chain of thought reasoning before responding. It scored 75%. So that's just in the space of a couple of years. We've gone from ChatGPT scoring 5% to O3 scoring 75.5%. There are signs that this is rapidly accelerating.
And at the same time, you know, the clip that we heard at the top of this segment was all about the potential doom, which we've, you know, obviously heard before about what AI may bring us in the future. But, Felicity, there could be good things for humans, maybe not necessarily in the way that Mark Zuckerberg paints, but could this be like the Industrial Revolution? You know, there's this idea that AI could actually have a benefit in helping us to do less work.
Fingers crossed for that. Yes, I hope so. I mean, I said my feeling with AI is that the genie is out of the bag. Like it's here, and the speed at which it's developing and progressing is terrifying. But it's here, and there's no going back. So I think we need to do as much as we can to make sure that it's a benign and benevolent force for all our lives. I mean, I slightly went down a kind of doom aspect because I was looking into data centers, and I keep on seeing headlines about data centers being built up, which is so bad for the planet in terms of how much energy they require. And they're also, I hadn't realized, but they're really water intensive. They need lots of water in order to prevent computers from overheating. And in this country, that's, you know, a massive problem because we have a water scarcity and like really bleak warnings about, you know, huge water shortages, and also just like awful stories about these huge data centers being built on like green belt around London and in countrysides and all that sort of thing. And so I was like, oh God, doom, doom, doom. But then it does seem that AI potentially could help the climate. I was reading that it could help against global heating by making power grids work more efficiently, accelerating the development of new zero carbon technologies. I mean, I don't know whether these things are like a smokescreen that AI proponents will say, oh, there are loads of great things that come with this just so that they can keep on doing as much as they want to do. I don't know, but and it might be a failure of imagination, but hopefully people with better imaginations than I have can foresee a world where AI is going to, make the world a better place. Otherwise, we don't really want it, right?
I think on the other hand as well, like with the data centers, what people always forget when we talk about AI is that they forget that this kind of nebulous, ephemeral thing that they think exists in the cloud actually is underpinned by physical infrastructure that has real world consequences. We're already seeing the real world consequences of the rollout of AI. It's already been responsible for tens of thousands of job losses. At the moment, there's relatively stable, low unemployment and kind of steady wage growth, but there are signs that companies are beginning to adopt AI in a way that doesn't actually mean that people are working less. It means that fewer people are working. And all the way through human history, these technological advancements that are touted as more efficient, time-saving, better for humanity actually end up exacerbating wealth and inequality divides because they always negatively impact those who are at the poorest end of the scale the most. In this case, AI looks to be more threatening white collar jobs like, for example, journalists, historians, sales reps, writers, computer and tech support, that kind of thing. They are all the jobs that are under threat. But there is perhaps another argument. So Jess Hullinger, who's one of our podcast contributors, she shared an article today on her Instagram, a New York Times article, talking about how there is this kind of pushback in some American universities, and people are starting to see an uptick in students opting for the humanities, with the kind of in their mind being like, well, why would I go and do like tech or computer or any of these other studies which may or may not be replaced by an AI bot, when I could instead pursue the arts and pursue literature and music and the kinds of areas in which AI will probably not come to replace humanity. So I think that's a nice, slightly more positive angle.
Jamie, presupposing this more rosy picture Harriet has put forward does come to pass, and the AI machines that are coming don't just make us all completely obsolete, but rather take on a few of our jobs and free up some time. What daily tasks would you be happy to hand over of your day-to-day life?
Great question, Arion. I do like the idea that we'll be able to look back on the AI and be like, ooh, at least it made the trains run on time. The things that I really dislike having to do is anything kind of like clearing out when you make coffee and then you have to get rid of the coffee granules. That's a real faff. I know that there's the bean to cup thing, and I don't really understand it, to be honest. But basically, I just want someone to come and get rid of the coffee granules so I can make coffee whenever I want. That's all I want from AI, Arion. If you can bring that to my life, I'll get happy. Straight
onto that. Felicity, how about you?
Like an AI babysitter, someone to look after my kids for free.
Good one. Yeah, Harriet.
I've got to say, I think it's got to be something that can cook my meals, like an AI housekeeper. I want something to cook and clean for me. Just a sort of robot that just does all of that, like housework and cooking.
We basically want robotic slaves.